going to be showing off today is a fictitious banking website called KBank. And so don't get kind of hung up on the look or the feel. You know, we just kind of have about 10 or 15 minutes to walk through this, so I'm going to do a pretty high level. But I think this should tie in everything that Saurav was just walking through, especially with regards to the hybrid headless. So what I am showing off here is kind of the way that you can start to distribute your content into multiple different digital channels. So within the implementation phase of KBank, what they have decided to do was segment out 5 separate channels that they want to target their audience at. And this is all being controlled in one administrative interface in the back end. So what KBank has decided to do was to segment out through personal, business, a microsite that's dedicated to mortgages. They also have a native mobile application, and then even an alternative site called K-Cars, which is for loans that are strictly for buying used vehicles. And just to give you kind of a heads up of what the live sites look like, you can see that it's very nice, it's very modern looking. This is one of the channels that they have created and that they are managing from one centralized location, and even a native mobile banking application. So just to kind of give you an idea of the landscape there. Now, we will navigate back here to the back end or the administrative interface. This is where you're going to be, this is where you can get to anything that you want to do from a digital marketing or even from a technical perspective to manage all of those different digital channels. So as you can see, we have the channels that I just showed off right here that are segmented out, which is easy to navigate to, which allows for efficiency. There's content management, some digital marketing, and then even some development and configuration. Really what I want to start with though is, you know, Saurav talked about the web-centric versus the headless versus the hybrid headless. And I think where that comes into play and the best illustration of the practical application for any kind of marketing team would be our content hub. So if I navigate here, our content hub is really your center of truth. And what I mean by that is this is a repository for all of the different pieces of content that you want to create once and then be able to reuse and repurpose across as many different digital channels as you like, because of that decoupled architecture that we have between the front end and the back end. So as you can see, any kind of content types in here, there's products, there's heroes, there's articles, there's benefits, FAQs. It can be anything that you really want to do. And really, again, not only does this allow you to make an update once to a content item. So for instance, if I were to select our personal loan and just make a quick edit here, you can see that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I can update any of my short descriptions. I have an embedded media library if I want to choose or swap out any different types of images, descriptions. I also have benefits that are being pulled directly from the Content Hub, as well as features, loan types, rates, anything like that. And I think, you know, specifically within the finance sector, as rates are changing, it will be a beautiful thing to be able to come in and just update this rate one time. And wherever that content is reflected, I only have to make or perform that task one time. So it does a couple of different things for your marketing teams. Number one, it gives the power back to the creatives and the non-technical users to be able to get in there and manage the content in an appropriate fashion. The second thing that it does, aside from just improving efficiency, is it allows you to consistently get your message out across all of those different channels. Whereas a web-centric approach, it kind of makes you go into all those different digital channels on an individual basis and make those updates. Oftentimes, when you're making those updates on individually, that can sometimes lead to some mistakes being made and some inconsistent messaging getting out. So that is the Content Hub. If I want, though, again, kind of like Saurav was talking about, we do understand too that there's going to be certain areas where you need to just build a page from scratch, and you need to be able to get some content out that's very specific there. So we'll just dive right into our channel here for personal, and I can come in here to my home page and I will edit this page. And you will see that I have this is drag and drop, this is WYSIWYG. I can come down here, I can select from here for different widgets that I want to impose, if it's rich text, if it's any kind of hero banners, anything like that. And so I can create a page and I can influence that page directly through this view. However, we do believe that even if you're an organization that has not determined what your channels might look like yet, you can still begin your content modeling within the Content Hub before you even understand what those channels are going to look like. And I think that is also where our good partner at Korcomptenz can assist you through that process, and the Solution Through Experience by Kentico makes that possible. So for instance, if I wanted to come in here and make a change, and maybe I don't want to necessarily have the default banner, or there's something I want to edit, if I click on this edit button, what it does is it brings me directly back to the specific content item that is living within that content hub. So I can edit this content item and I can make any of my different changes here that I want to. Maybe I want to remove a specific type of benefit, anything like that. And I can make that, I can save it and I can publish it. I won't have time to get too in the weeds on this today, but there is a workflow process with roles and permission suite in here as well. So you can lock down who has access to what. Maybe you only want them to be able to edit or view. Maybe they can actually edit, but they can't publish it to the live site. So you can go through a workflow process to ensure that the right people are making the correct edits and that it's going through the necessary chain of command before it actually gets out to your public site or whatever the digital channel is that they're trying to get their content out to. So the page builder functionality in the Content Hub allows you for that hybrid headless, because again, I think most of the time when I've heard or had discussions around headless, it typically boils down to the fact that they just want multi-channel content delivery in a consistent and efficient manner, which Xperience by Kentico allows you to do. So that is the upside of the hybrid headless, because you get that front end UI, because I am not a technical user. I'm a very non-technical person and I can do all of these things. The other upside that you get for the best of both worlds is it's still a digital experience platform. So you get all of that additional functionality. And one of those pieces is that within Xperience by Kentico, we have site visitor tracking. So we can track visitors to the site that are either anonymous or known, and we can actually navigate right here, for instance, to our contact management. So you can see that some anonymous user has been poking around our site quite a bit. And again, this is a demo environment, so there's not a ton of information in here, but apparently George Costanza from Seinfeld, we were talking about that earlier, has been poking out around our site, and he was so interested in what he saw from our content that we've put out there that he decided to fill out a form and convert. And so again, we have GDPR practices in here that they have to consent before we can actually start doing any of these types of tracking. But if we want to dive in and take a look at George here, let's take a look at some of his activities. So we know that he's looking to potentially, apparently he wants to move out of his parents' house or even his little apartment in New York, and is interested in a first-time home buyers type of loan. So we now know all of these different things, and we can take a look at all of the different activities that George is poking around and taking a look at. So that is the contact tracking capabilities that we have here. But how are we actually going to use that data to start to offer up personalized content to hopefully nudge them in the direction of conversion rates? So another way we can do that is we can create a contact group. A contact group here is going to take all of the information and is condition based from our different site visitors. So let's create a quick one. If we were to go into a new contact group, we're actually going to go ahead and we'll call this a personal loan, and we'll just give this their code name real quick. And again, it's condition based. So let's go in and add in a condition. So we'll do a very elementary illustration of this, but we can actually go in and let's take a look at web activity. So let's say that we want to look at somebody that has visited a specific page, and we will click this page, and let's say that they are looking at the personal loan, for instance. We'll select that, and let's say 90 days. So we've now set a parameter for somebody that has visited this page in the last 90 days. Let's add one more condition, and let's say that they've submitted a form, but in this case, let's say that they actually have not submitted a form. Now let's go ahead and select the form that we've already created, the loan form, in the last 90 days. So now we are segmenting out our audience for somebody that has come to our page, personal loan page, in the last 90 days, but they didn't convert. They didn't fill out their information for the form. So let's go ahead and apply that, and we'll save it. And we'll just give it a quick recalculate to ensure that this is working properly. And now what we can do with this is we can start to go back into our page builder functionality and offer up some personalized content. So let's go back into our personal loan page, and we'll go into home, and you'll see that there's this little individual up here and it says personalized. So if I click on this and I identify that they're in a specific contact group, for instance, personal loans, and we'll go ahead and just call that personal loan, I'll go ahead and apply that. And you'll see that it's gone from one to multiple different people. And I can toggle back and forth between the original and the personal loan. Now I can start to use the widget and the page builder functionality to change out some of this content that will hopefully move them towards a higher likelihood of converting. So as an example, if I want to change this out from the very typical default banner, let's actually kick that out. And let's do a very specific product page. And we'll go into loans and personal loan. And we'll go ahead and select that. There's all different types of things here that I can use to kind of manipulate this in a fashion that I believe is going to help them to convert. And so this is all completely customizable. This is just the way that the demo environment works. And again, that's where my good friends over at Korcomptenz can make that happen for you in a way that's going to fulfill all of your specific goals and requirements. But if I go ahead and apply that, you'll see that the personal loan page comes up here. Maybe I want to add in like a specific, say a call to action, fill out or check us out today, find out more today. There we go. We'll apply that. And there's now a call to action where I can click on that and I have a call to action. So I can do this and get really as specific and granular throughout this as I'd like. But if I go back up here and I toggle back, for instance, to say the original, you'll see that this is what the typical first time site visitor is going to see. But if I meet those requirements, I can start to see something different, which will allow me to hopefully use that kind of content to convert them. This can be used in multiple different ways. Maybe it's for somebody that's not a customer yet that you're looking to target. It could also be used for current customers that, for instance, in the banking space, maybe you have a checking and a savings account and you see that they're starting to look at a HELOC loan or a home loan or an auto loan, and you want to segment them out. That's also a way for you to use personalization through this digital practice from a non-technical user to also grow your already existing accounts. So to kind of tie all of this in and keeping with this theme of the hybrid headless and the best of both worlds, not only do you get the ease of use, the multi-channel content delivery, the personalization, you also get some email marketing capabilities, again, because this is a fully fledged digital experience platform. So within the implementation and kind of their design phase of KBank, they wanted to actually make emails a separate channel. So for instance, let's go into emails here, and I'm just going to show a very high level overview of some of the AI that we've started to implement within this. So let's go into the intro newsletter. And this is something where you can create a brand new email naturally from scratch, but just to kind of show this off as time is a bit of a constraint, you'll see that I have all these different little AI things here that I can select. So for instance, if I want an email introduction, let's click on AI. And I actually can do this in a few different ways, which I think is pretty neat. So I can actually select something, a piece of content or a news article or anything that I've already created in the Content Hub, and I can start to use AI within the confines of that. I can do a specific web URL, or I can even do a custom description. Let's stick with this personal loan theme though, and we'll go right into our Content Hub and we'll select personal loan. And maybe we want to make this say, 60 words. And we're going to go ahead and generate that. The tone is something that would be done in that implementation phase, but I can, so this has not necessarily been set for KBank, but I think you can understand for anybody that's played around a little bit with ChatGPT, it's going to be very similar to that, except this is going to work within the confines of content that you've already created instead of casting a massive net that goes through the entire universe of the web. So maybe I want to make this shorter. Maybe I want to go ahead and make it persuasive. And now I can start to use artificial intelligence to recommend some different ways of getting some content out there. And this is something where you can use all of this ties together in the fact that it's easy to use. You can create your content modeling before even knowing your channels exist. Once those channels are defined, you can start to use the CDP that's already embedded within Xperience by Kentico with the site visitor tracking. You start to segment them out, and then you can tie it all in with some more targeted email marketing with the assistance of AI to really start to improve the overall digital experience that both your existing customers are going to have, as well as anybody new or new prospective clients that you are looking to target. And I think that this all works very well together. As a final point, what I will say is, yes, Xperience by Kentico does fall under that all-in-one digital experience platform, I guess, umbrella. However, we do understand too that there's going to be several other software solutions that could possibly be something that you absolutely need. And a really good example of that would be, say, like a CRM. If you're using a Salesforce, if you're using a Microsoft Dynamics, whatever that looks like, you can pair that very well with Xperience by Kentico. So yes, we are all in one, but we also are composable by nature. So I don't want that to be, I just want to make sure that that's very clear as it. Another really good one too is, yes, we have analytics, a lot of our clients, the majority of our clients, will use Google Analytics or some other alternative analytics tool to really start to put the some horsepower behind that and really start to understand what your clients are looking at and what is going to be most important.